Hi, this is Begin the Slaughter. I'm Murder Who. Well, I've got the last main region done. It's a bunch of guard towers that are intended to have snipers atop them, and I have made significant progress in finishing the last boss. Originally, I was going to make a nether flat arena as I did for the first two bosses, but that didn't feel very satisfying. So instead, I'm planning to make more of a movement playground. The castle will have 4 floors, where moving between them quickly requires mastery of different movement techs. The king will ride between them on his elevator, and hitting him will require causing him to flee to another floor, then reaching that floor before he does. The different obstacles I have in mind will primarily use wall bouncing and ground pivoting, sometimes in sequence, along with recognition of the area, recognizing what obstacles can be overcome with what movement tech. But I will also be designing them so they can be cheesed by careful placement of bodies to allow chain to teleportation, which I think is just a perfectly valid way to play the game as well. I will also need to create spawners. I think ones that operate from a pool of enemies so they resurrect older mobs instead of simply spawning new ones. I'm also considering making a gauntlet of environmental traps for the path to the last hit on the king. So far, my planned models for this involve castle stairs, a red carpet, fancy pillars, castle wall supports to decorate the outside, the throne and elevator apparatus, a switchback ramp, and great doors. And the rest will be built inside of Godot using pretty much just box meshes, because I don't really need to be too fancy with the basic geometry of it, because that'll make it more difficult to traverse as a player. I have also kept myself busy whenever I couldn't focus, and I finally finished my main brainworm of the mines. Waypoints, as it turns out, are more difficult than I thought, because Godot doesn't like it when nodes are dechilded and rechilded somewhere else in the tree. I was originally just keeping a list of all the waypoints in their original positions under their modules, but then I was mysteriously dealing with previously freed objects that I couldn't detect except by crashing the game. Is instance valid is the accepted way to detect previously freed objects, but in this case it was passing them through. This is all very odd, as I wasn't freeing any objects. I simply had an array of all of the waypoint nodes that were created with each module. Now I'm dechilding them from that and rechilding them under the waypoints node, and for some reason this works and nothing else did. I still have some trouble with them, in that I build the waypoint network by discovering connections until every waypoint is connected. And then when it comes to pathfinding, waypoints somehow aren't connected when it comes to pathfinding them. Not sure what that's about. It's probably more of some kind of object headache behind the scenes. I'll figure it out. I also had an unexpected problem with placing enemies in the mines, as for some reason they don't like being placed in the tunnels. They run for a little bit, and then suddenly appear outside of the tunnel. I've narrowed this down to a problem with the physical skeleton, even when it isn't simulated, as deleting the skeleton allows them to work fine. The skeleton, however, is needed for ragdolling. I am going to try to figure out the eventual cause of this and fix it properly, but for now my solution is simply to scale them down to 70% size. Now they no longer now they no longer randomly appear outside of the tunnels, and it works well enough for now. If I ever get time to repolish that area, I will fix them. For now, I'm going to consider them fixed enough. I'm going to move on to everything else in the game that needs doing. Other things with the mines were less painful, like creating a new map view that looks to the ground and sees only the current layer of the mines, that is also zoomed in, so you can see, you can make your way through the maze easier. Or creating progress messages while the mines generate, because they do take a solid minute or two to generate sometimes. I have also worked further on the slither strike mechanics, making them more reliable and allowing it also to instantly change the direction of movement, which makes teleporting more useful. After teleporting, you can crouch in the air and slither strike from that position, sending you off in the desired direction, whereas normally, after you teleport, you would still have your original momentum and direction. Alright, that's all for the day. Hopefully by next vlog, I'll be able to show off the final boss. Thanks for watching, please engage the algorithm shows my devlogs to more people, and don't forget to wishlist.